Hey everybody, welcome back to Auto Anatomy. My name is Sean. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we are going to be working on the Corvair, and on the last Corvair video and some of the posts on our social media. So if you're not following us on Instagram or Facebook, make sure you do so, because I put a lot of updated information about the projects that we're working on there that don't make it to the YouTube channel until much later. So if you want a sneak peek at what's to come, make sure that you're checking out our social media. On the last Corvair video, you saw that we had some problems with, I think, the camshaft. So the plan was to go ahead and pull out the engine. Today's the day. We're going to pull the engine out and see what kind of damage is done. Before we get started, if you like this kind of content, make sure you click on that subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified when new videos come out. And also make sure you like and share with your friends on social media. It really helps support this channel, and I just can't say thank you enough. All right, let's get this engine out. You have seen me pull this engine out enough times. I'm not going to show it to you this time. Let's just get it out and start digging into it. So if it seems like we were just here, you're not wrong. I put the engine back in a little over a month ago, and now we're pulling it right back out again. This time it's going to be very different though. We are going to pull this entire thing apart, split the case, go down to the very last component, and figure out what we can do to make this engine perfect. I think at the minimum, it's going to get a cam. At the maximum, it's going to get crank, jugs, pistons, you know, the whole thing. So the first thing to do is split this whole thing back down again. So the other day, my wife came home with some fruit stripe gum, which I haven't seen since I was a kid. How far do you think that we can go in stripping this engine down before we lose flavor in this stuff? My bet, well, let me know in the comments below how far you think we can go with stripping the engine down before this stuff loses flavor. I'm betting we can probably get the carburetors and maybe the alternator off, but let's see what you think. On your mark, get set. And unfortunately, I think that was it. I was really hopeful. All right, all kidding aside, let's get this engine torn apart and see what all is broken. All right, well, this is the cylinder. This is the problem child. I'm thinking this rocker right here, this lifter, is pushed up against a bad cam lobe. So let me just pop a couple of other little things off, and then we can split the case and see what we've got. Okay, let's see. Well, that kind of came apart faster than I thought it would. I didn't really show this when I pulled the pan off, but looking in the oil pan, there is a ton of sludge down in here, and this has not been that way. This oil has been changed regularly, so I'm betting this is just some stuff that was left in the engine. Yeah, that's pretty nasty. That's thick. I think now it just kind of confirms the need to go through this thing with a fine-tooth comb and just, you know, not only just clean it, but get it like surgical clean in order to put this engine back together. So I've got a lot of work ahead, but this is a little concerning. Yeah, I mean, there's chunks of like old gasket in here that I have no idea where they came from, because that's old and hard. It actually almost feels like a valve stem seal. It's kind of rubbery hard. So I'm pretty sure that when this thing finally got brought back to life and oil pumping everywhere it needed to, that it uncovered some hidden secrets. So overall, it's a really good thing that we're tearing into this thing, because yeah, I'm not okay with that. On the bench, I've got the crankshaft and just cleaned it up a little bit. Pulled out the specs for the crank journals. We're just going to measure them and see what wear is there. And it says for main bearing journal diameter number 1 and 2, 20978 to 20988. So let's see what we got here. Okay, so we are 2095, 2096, 2097. We are 2.0978, which is within the spec. It's on the small end of the normal diameter. So number 1 is good. Let's move on to number 2. And on this one, we are 209.7567. 209.77, which is, yeah, it's just probably a difference in technique, but essentially it's within the factory clearances. The next 2 journals are a little bit larger, and I don't know if, you know, if this is number 1 or if this is number 1, but if these are bigger, then I'm going to assume that that's number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we'll just presume that way. So let's move on to number 3. It says here this one should be 20983 to 0993, and the same for this one. All right, number 3 We are 2.095969798. It's like 98920. Which is, again, right in the middle, 0983 to 0993. So number 3 is good. Let's check number 4. All right, number 4. We're at 2097567 20987, which is right smack in the middle of the main journal clearance diameter. So we're good on that one too. All right, all of the main journals look good. Let me move on to checking the rod journals to see if we need to get this thing turned or if just a quick polish will clean all of this up. And then we'll be able to feel good knowing that the crank is in good shape. Looking at the specs, there's not much wear limit here. 1.799 to 1.800. So let's start miking all of these. I'm going to go from just the front to the back, and we'll measure all these out, and then, you know what, hopefully we don't end up with any major wear and can just put some new mains and rods in this thing and call this part good. And we are 1.7959. Ooh, that migrated a little bit because my lock didn't lock down. Let's do this again. Okay. Now we are 1.7959697989991. So 17991, which is within specs. Okay, let's move on to our next one, which should be number 2. Okay, 1799. Yeah, again, 7991. So number 2 is in spec. Moving on to number 3. On number 3, we are 1799. Again, 7991. So we're perfect on that one. So move on to 4. Looking at number 4, we are 1799. Yeah, again, 17991. So we're right in spec. Hopefully these last 2 will be in spec. Then we can feel good knowing that our crank is in good shape. All right, number 5, 1799. Again, 17991. All right, one more to go. And the final one, we are 107,992. Okay, so we are just slightly larger on this one, but absolutely within spec. All right, so I feel really good knowing that the crank is in good condition. It's just going to take a quick polish, and then that will be ready to use. Now let's move on to measuring the cylinders and seeing if there's any wear there. I have to confess, I'm a little concerned because both times I've popped the heads off, there's been some oil in the base of the cylinder, which tells me that, you know, the oil rings aren't sealing. Now the rings are all brand new, but if the bore's a little out of taper, if there's been some damage to the cylinders themselves, then that may necessitate, you know, some new cylinders, which You know, if we're doing new cylinders, we might as well upgrade the pistons and the rods in the same time. So let's move on to checking out the cylinders and seeing exactly how much wear is done. On the bench, we've got the number 1 piston and cylinder, and just gonna pop that out. And let's take a look at the bore itself. Now, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. I mean, it's got some wear in it, but it's not terrible. I don't see much of the hone that I put in it when we built it last time, but I don't see any big gouges either, so that's encouraging. Looking at the piston, the skirts have obviously got some wear on them, but I don't see in any big grooves. And the tops of the pistons, just, you know, a little dirty, but nothing too bad. There's our brand new rings that we just put in the engine like less than a year ago. All right, got my dial indicator here. We're gonna mic the bores and see exactly how much wear there is in here, do top, bottom, and middle, and compare that to all of them. So I've got a little bit of work to do to measure all this, and I'll let you know as soon as I'm done. Let's measure one of these cylinders together. So I'm checking top, middle, and bottom of the bore just to see how much wear there actually is. So we'll go all the way down. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. Going all the way down, and I'm kind of spinning this around to make sure that it's getting the maximum diameter. Lock it in place. Then we'll take our mic. Okay, so this is 3 to 4 inches, so 3.4. Each rotation of the barrel is 25 thousandths, so it'd be 25 plus 10, so 30, so 3.4, 35, 36, 37, 38. So the top is 3.438. Now, do the middle, which is probably where the most wear would be. And 3.4375 probably. So let's just call it 3.437. Kind of surprising. Let me just double check that real quick, because that would be out of bounds for what is expected. Yeah, that's more appropriate, unfortunately. Let me just double check again to make sure that measurement's right. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So that's 3, 4, 45, 44. All right, well, we'll keep going. Although I kind of have a feeling I know which direction this is headed. And that's 3.439. All right, let me measure these other two cylinders and we'll go over all the numbers and kind of get a game plan together. Well, unfortunately, as you can see, the bores were just a little bit out of spec here. All right, looking at the cylinder, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, top, middle, and bottom. 3.437 is the spec, and it looks like the maximum out around is 0.02. And already it's 0.02, that's 0.04, that one's right on spec. So number 2 is fine. Number 3 is 0.03 and then 0.02. Number 4 is a little out of spec here. So this middle number here, I double checked it twice. 3.444, that's way out. We're 7th out of spec. 2000s 3.233. Right on. So as you can see, unfortunately, that means that we're probably going to need some new pistons and jugs. With the jugs out of spec, unfortunately, that means that we're going to need to get things bored or get new jugs and pistons. I'm kind of leaning towards the new jugs and pistons just because there's some scuff marks on the skirts of these, but I'll take a look and see, and you'll find out in the next video what we decide to do. So let's move on to the rest of the engine. I've got a few more things that I want to check, and then I'll get some parts ordered. I've got some upgrades coming for sure that you do not want to miss on this thing. Got the main bearings out, and they actually look in pretty decent shape. I mean, there's some wear there, but this is nothing that you can actually feel even with your fingernail. I think these are original bearings. Let's see. In fact, clean this up a little bit. It looks like that says GM M400, then 7620, 234R4. So I'm betting that is a GM bearing. So, you know, that kind of confirms what I thought, that this was unfortunately a low mile engine that got flooded, and sadly, now here we are. But it gives me an opportunity to put new bearings in it and make it even better than it ever was. Next up in the cleanup and measuring process is measuring the journals on the camshaft. So the cam doesn't use bearings on the Corvair. Actually, the block itself is the bearing. And looking at it here, it says cam journal diameter, front 1.44, and then all others is 1.2 with a 0.0015 run out. So let me set things up where we can start measuring all the journals and make sure that, you know, this isn't all for naught and that I've got a block that's junk. But I don't think so. Looking down through the bores there, everything looks nice and clean. But we'll measure it just for the sake of completeness. And we are, as you can see, 1.20. Yeah, 1.200, which is exactly on spec for the front journal. We are 1.201 with an allowable run out of camshaft journal run out max 0.0015. All right, so that one's in spec. Moving on to the next one. Okay, 1.20. Yeah, pretty much 1.200. All right, last one. So this one is the front journal, and this one should be 1.44. All right, so let me grab this different one here. So this one's a little bit bigger. 1.44, and it's like 1. So 1.441, which looking at the specs here, 1.440 with a maximum run out of 0.0015. So that's within spec 2. After measuring everything in the block, I feel good that we've got a foundation that is going to last us a long time. I know this is what y'all been really wanting to see. So doing a visual inspection of the cam, all of the lobes except for one look actually in pretty good condition. This one right here, when you look at it, it's nice and smooth, but then you look as it comes up the ramp, you start to see this little wave come this way, and then it, at the peak lift, you'll see it kind of curve. Let's see if you can see it there. And there's a big step off. So this side is markedly lower than this side. When you take a mic and just put it on, you know, one of the other cam lobes, it's, so we mic a couple of the cams here, pretty tight across all of them. We go to the one in question. I think we found our problem. I mean, even on the other part of this lobe, it's still worn. Comparing that to another one of the wider lobes, you can still see, like, nice and tight. And then back to the worn one. All right, well, we found our major problem. And this is going to be the only sneak peek you get about the next video. But old cam. I'm going to mic the new cam real quick. Okay, new cam. A little bit of difference. If you like this kind of content, make sure you click that subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified when any new videos come out. Thank you so much for watching. That's going to wrap up this video. On the next one, we'll be putting the new engine together and taking it for a test drive again. Thanks for watching. God bless. We'll see you next time.